Gunther, it's great to see you. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it very much. This is obviously a massive weekend for you. And I'm wondering, WrestleMania is kind of like the New Year's Eve for pro wrestling fans. If we would look at the calendar from WrestleMania to WrestleMania, the Monday after WrestleMania is kind of January 1st, if you get what I'm saying. And so this concludes your rookie year with WWE on the main roster. How would you describe the past year in your career?
It's been good, right? I think there's nothing, I usually don't go into things with lots of expectations, so I just went with what they offered me more or less, and I tried to make the best out of it, and so far, I'm very pleased with how things happened and where we're heading.
Obviously last year you didn't compete at WrestleMania, you were just wrapping up your time with NXT. Did you attend the events?
Yes, one of the nights, but not just for the full duration.
Do you remember what you were thinking? You probably knew your time was about to come. Do you remember what was going on? Like, you were this close to achieving your dream, and now to compare it to where you're at now as champion, and we'll obviously get into that in a moment. What were the feelings inside as you were about to watch your final WrestleMania not part of the main roster?
I don't think, I don't think I saw it that way, because obviously I knew it was about time to move up, but then still there was just like a rough somewhere after Mania or something like that. So I didn't really know when things are going to happen. But I gotta say I didn't really see it that way. Usually it was after NXT TakeOver, we would have like a lounge somewhere in the building where we can watch, and then it's more like, because for us, the weekend was more or less over. It was just like, enjoy what's happening and have a few drinks, have good food with your colleagues. And that's more or less what we did. So I rather try to be entertained by what went down than thinking about my own career in that moment.
Did you have any goals for year one that you wanted to accomplish? And if so, did you accomplish all of them?
No, actually no, because that's in general for me. I think that's where it's different for myself than with most of my colleagues now, is where my goal in my life was always, I want to make a living of being a wrestler. That's my goal. And I achieved it 6 or 7 years ago, where I had to wrestle 10 years before that on the weekends. And then that was something where I was like, okay, that's astonishing, because in Germany or Austria back then, it's such a niche. It's like what we do. There's no realistic outcome to actually build up a business or something like that where you can actually live off. So everything that happens now just feels like the cherry on top, if that makes sense. And that's how I try to approach it. I just focus on what's right in front of me and make the best out of that and give it my all, and then I can focus on the next thing. I'm not a guy for long-term goals or plans, and especially in this business, there's a lot of things that are not in your hands, like that you cannot control. So my focus is more on the things I can control myself and get the most out of that.
So perhaps I'm reading between the lines a little too much here, but you've said, focus on the things that I can't control and all this stuff. And I don't know if those are codes, but when they changed your name, a lot of your fans were very upset. And I recall a tweet even from Keith Lee saying, poor Walter, and everyone thought that they were burying you before you even got to the main roster.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you ever felt that way, and was there ever a chip on your shoulder to see, like, it doesn't matter what my name is. My name could be Mr. X. I'm still me, and I'm going to prove all of you wrong, that I'm not going to get buried, and that I'm going to be better than I was on the Indies or NXT.
100%. I wasn't too worried about it, because at the end, before it was Walter, that's my real name. So at some point that they will have an interest to change that and make it their own. I understand that. I think I would act the same if I would own the company. And at the end of the day, it's not that big a difference, because Walter is a very old German name. It's like nobody my age is named Walter in Austria anymore. It's like I'm a rarity when it comes to that. So Gunther just is in the same category as that. I think if it would have been the other way around, and Gunther would be my real name, and they would change it to Walter, it would have been the exact same reaction. I think people like to jump on things, and there's like almost like a collective panic that people join in. And even if other people that are wrestlers make comments or something, I don't know. I worry about my stuff. If they feel the need to express worry about me, that's nice of them, but I don't think there's any need to worry about anything. At the end, it comes down to me.
You're so easygoing. It's amazing. Everything, you don't worry about, like, does anything bother you?
Of course, yeah, everybody has. I think at the end, everybody has the same struggles in life, kind of like, obviously it's different, but we all have the same worries. Like, this job is nothing where anything is set in stone, really, right? Everything can end tomorrow, even if it's, I don't know, you get let go or you get injured or something like that. So, but those are all things, yeah, that you can't control, right? It's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. So, and that was an effort for me too. Like, I just really try to focus on the moment and get the most out of that. Enjoyment, but also be the most productive. If I worry about the future, I cannot be the most productive and efficient right now. So I want to focus on right now.
Was this something that you learned over time? Like, was there a time where you were sweating the small things and had to evolve and teach yourself to be like, this is a very impressive mentality. I don't know if a lot of people share this mentality.
Yeah.
And so is that something that you were always doing and thinking, or is this something that you developed as you went on in the business?
Oh yeah, of course. That's something you need to, like train your brain a little bit to understand that. And I think a lot of people that are in this business, it's their dream or it's their big passion and stuff like that. And so it is for me. I always wanted to do that, but that also that makes it very personal to a lot of people, which I totally understand. And I just always really try to make an effort to separate those two things. Where it's like the one, even though it is my passion, even though it's been the thing I wanted to do since I was a kid, it is my profession now. That's how I have to deal with it. And I don't think emotions help there sometimes. Like, the gut often gives you the right direction. Like, I think I always try to make decisions with my head instead of my gut, if that makes sense. And I think in general because especially when I lived in Germany, it's like life there is there's one way of life more or less, and that's how society works. And when you step out of that a little bit and you're on your own, you kind of feel a little bit lost. Like, everything gets automatically more complicated. So you always carry that feeling of, I'm not set up, I'm not secure. You know what I mean? What you would have in a regular job, I would say. So I always carried it with me, but I was just thinking, it's okay, I'm never gonna go back to a real job anymore. Like, that's my life now, that's what I want to do. So I have to find ways to deal with it and enjoy it and not be worried about stuff, because that's often something people don't see when all the excitement happened. Like, we do those live shows, we do SmackDown, we do Raw, the big pay-per-views. Then you come home and then everything kind of, it takes a day or two to really come down, and that's when you start kind of like, in your head, like, recall a little bit what happened and stuff like that. And if not every time everything goes well, like, there are weekends where you look back and you go like, oh, could have done this differently, but you cannot let that get to you while you're at home and while you're with your family or with your wife or whoever you're with.
You know, I know you were a fan growing up. Like you just said, you wanted to do this for a long time, and so now here we sit, you're holding that IC belt. It's the Honky Tonk Man, it's Randy Savage and you, in terms of the longest reigning champions. Is that, can you take a step back and just be like, holy smokes, those two legends and me, like, that's pretty incredible.
Oh, it is, 100%.
Does that blow you away?
No, it doesn't blow me away, because it doesn't.
You're unflappable.
It doesn't. No, but it doesn't feel like it, if that makes sense, right? Because you grew up with all those names, and now out of nowhere, you're in the mix of it, and it feels a little bit like a guest appearance, if that makes sense. But from a distance, obviously, it is. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing to see that, and just be able to do my part in the history of that championship is, it's a privilege, I think, and I take that very serious.
Those two guys were champions in the 80s. That belt meant a lot in the 80s, 90s as well. Obviously, WrestleMania 3, a great moment between Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat. But let's be honest, over the last decade, the importance of the belt went down a little bit. When you got it, was it part of the mindset, like, I'm going to make this feel important again, I'm going to bring value back to this belt? Did you think of that at all?
Yes, 100%. That was my approach. I was like, I get that opportunity now, and I'm gonna make the absolute most out of that. Like, make it mean something again. Because you're right, like the last years, it wasn't a very popular presented title. But often it is on the one that holds the title to make that change again. And yeah, I was successful doing that. I think when people talk about the Intercontinental Championship match on a card, it's seen in a very different light than it was in the last years.
Do you feel like you've accomplished that, or is there still a little more work to do to make the belt feel as important as it did maybe 30 years ago?
I mean, it is work in progress, I think, and the times have changed too. But I think I accomplished that to a big degree now, because we are here now. It's WrestleMania. It's the biggest WrestleMania ever. And it is a match that people are excited for. They're looking forward to it. I think, it is surreal too. It's because I am in that position, if I think where I was 3, 4, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's a big leap. But that's something, to go back to that before, you cannot think like that in the moment. You have to be focused on the task, and that's what I try to do, and I think I accomplished that in that way to make this after the main title, this is the most important title in the company right now.
Any special feelings for you being in this particular city, considering you had success 6 or so years ago, PWG here in Los Angeles? Now you're back. Like, if I would have talked to that guy in 2017, could he have believed 6 or so years later he'd be the IC champ, 3rd longest reign, star on the roster? Like, that's pretty amazing that you're coming back to this place where, in some respects, like, a lot of America got to, the fans here got to learn about who you are.
Oh, it definitely was. I think when I started out on the Indies, PWG was one of the first gigs I got, basically, and then it became a regular thing. So it is nice to be here. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite cities in this country as well, overall. I was always looking forward to come here, and I was able to be PWG World Champion at some point, and that opened so many more doors for me. The first time I spoke to Mr. Regal actually about WWE was in Los Angeles at PWG. I think even at my first Battle of Los Angeles I did. So yeah, it is a little bit full circle, if that makes sense.
Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble, but in many respects you were the MVP, going from first to final 2. What a run! Record for most time in a 30-man Royal Rumble. When you look back on that experience, what comes to mind? I mean, you were probably exhausted by the end, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But like, what was the highlight of that incredible run that you had that night in San Antonio?
Yeah, it was a fantastic night for me. I was very happy that it was the first one, I gotta say. I was thinking, okay, what's the best spot to get in? It's like, I want to be first.
Why?
Because that's the best spot in that match, because whoever is first, he has the second one as well, but they have the longest way to walk, basically, to make it. And I think with every minute or every entrant you last in there, the respect you earn grows, because minute by minute, it just becomes more challenging. And to go till the end with Cody, that was fantastic. I think Cody is an opponent that is kind of like very well suited for me, if that makes sense, and the other way around too. So it was good to be in there with him and at least give everybody or the world a taste of what we could do in the future. But as of right now, I'm focused on this, but it was at least, I think, it was a chance to almost make that step up and show my face there, if that makes sense.
I thought we were going to get you versus Brock after the interaction you had. Were you hoping for the same?
I'm hoping for that match, but to be honest, I think it's better that it's not happening now. I think that moment we had in the Royal Rumble was at least everything I needed out of it right now, because on the internet you always see things pop up, but often they don't translate in real life. But just the reaction we got for that moment we had there was like a real life confirmation for me that, okay, people, they want to see this, but I got my stuff to do now, and he does what he does, and then let's see what happens next year.
Okay, 2 last things, if I may. It's a triple threat match,
yes.
Not a traditional one-on-one. Do you prefer one or the other?
Definitely, I don't like triple threat matches.
Oh, really?
Yes, I gotta be honest about
Why?
that. Because I like traditional stuff more. I think one-on-one, a tag match, six-man tag, all of that is fine. But everything, in my personal opinion, that is like a triple threat or a four-way or something like that, that is not how I think wrestling should be done. It's not for me. I think it's something that Sheamus and Drew maybe prefer. That's up to them. But me, for myself, I think I shouldn't be put in those positions.
Where are you going to be at WrestleMania 40?
In the main event.
That's the goal?
Prediction.
That's the prediction?
Yes.
Okay. Main event for the heavyweight title, the main belt.
That's something we shall see. If I don't plan on losing this one, and I want to make it the most important thing there is. So,
who's the opponent?
At that night?
Yeah.
I leave that up to everybody else to make their.
Do you have a wish?
No, I don't
No,
have a wish.
you don't care.
I don't care.
No dream opponent.
There are, but obviously in this company, there are so many great guys I would really like to get in the ring with. But whatever the challenge is, I'm gonna take on it head on and make the most out of that. So everything will come around at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the ring with anybody if you're here long enough. So I take it as it comes.
Well, congrats on a great first year on the main roster. Tremendous work that you did. The entire group, Imperium, has been a real joy to watch. So congratulations to you and the rest of the team. Good luck this weekend as well. And good luck. I look forward to revisiting this conversation at WrestleMania 40, and we'll see if your prediction came true.
Well, see if I gambled high or not. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.